My name is Jessica and I have no idea what I'm doing. Today I'm going to talk about some things that I touched at Ulta. I already have one video up about what I touched at Sephora, so this time I'm going to talk about Ulta. This video should have been made like 2 months ago when I went to Ulta, but like I said, just things have been going on and I didn't have the time to film it, but I'm going to film it now. And there were a lot of things that I touched that I want to talk about, so let's get started. The first thing is more of what I smelled at Ulta. It was the Ariana Grande Cloud perfume. I actually thought this smelled really good, and I'm really picky with perfumes. I thought this was nice and sweet, but I don't like Ariana Grande, and this was way too expensive, so that's a no for me, dog, to quote Randy Jackson. The next thing I touched, well, I'm not going in actual chronological order when I touch them, I'm going by alphabetical order, is the Beauty Bakerie Cotton Candy Champagne Blush Palette. It was okay. I mean, I didn't think the formula was anything crazy special. I didn't think it was like bad either, but it's just not something I'm really in the market for right now. I just saw it and felt like touching it, so I did. I also touched the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Palette. I have the other one, the black one. This is the red one. And the formula feels the same. I still think it feels good. The thing is, the colors, like, I like some of them. I like the purple, I like the peaches, but there's a bunch of, like, warm tones and warm tone neutrals that I'm really just not interested in, and that's what's stopping me from buying this one too. And as you guys know, I really don't need anything else, especially something that's going to be half warm tone neutral that I'm not really going to be into. Next, I played with one of the Buxom single eyeshadows. This was in the color Room Service. It's a shimmery mint green. It's really pretty. The formula feels really good. This is not the first time I've touched this eyeshadow, but I touched it again, and I really don't need it, but I really do like it. Next are the Fleshcolor eyeshadow palettes. There were two of them. One kind of reminded me of the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette because of the colors in it. And the other one was more neutral to cool toned purples with some cooler tones thrown in there. And I just feel like the colors were, for the most part, lackluster. And I didn't feel like the formula was great either. So I'm gonna pass on those. I saw the I Heart Revolution Glitter Effects palettes. I wasn't impressed by those either. I was impressed though by the Juvia's Place Nubian 3 eyeshadow palette. I thought the formula felt good. The mattes, the shimmers, they were both pigmented. I love peach, and I also like cool tones, so it was nice that the silvers were in there. I felt like some colors were a little close to one another, but overall I thought it was nice. It's just not something I need. Another thing I touched was the Lancome Color Design 5-pan eyeshadow palette. I don't know what the name of this one is, but it's the green toned one. But not the green toned one with the bottom thin shade being like a matte color. It's a sparkly color. I think all of them were sparkly actually. But it was actually really disappointing. The colors weren't as like sparkly and bright when I put them on my hand, and they felt like Maybelline eyeshadows. Like, I'm not knocking Maybelline, I like Maybelline, but this thing is $50. Why would someone pay $50 for something that feels like Maybelline? I don't understand that, so I was not into that one. Then I touched some palettes from Morphe. The 35H Hotspot Artistry palette, that was the first one. I've talked about that one on my wish list before, and I can tell you that as someone who loves blue eyeshadow, the blues in this palette are really nice. They're nice in color, they feel nice in formula, they're pigmented. It feels like the typical Morphe formula that I enjoy. I liked some of the pinks and peaches in there, but there's just too many reddish tones and neutrals, and there's so many shadows. It's big. I really just don't need it, but I can see myself caving. I think I said that in the wishlist video, that I could see myself caving and getting it for the blues, the pinks, and the peaches, but I really don't need it. But I can tell you that it looked and felt good. Another one I liked was the 35M Boss Mood Artistry palette. I really like the greens and purples in there, but again, there's a whole bunch of other colors that I don't need, like the neutrals. So that's why I would be hesitant on that one, but I do think it felt and looked nice overall. And then there's the 35V, the Stunning Vibes Artistry palette. Of course, I was attracted to this one by the blues, and that was about it, so I'm going to pass on that one. I also touched some eyeshadow palettes from Pacifica. These are the 10-pan eyeshadow palettes. I know one of them was definitely the Beachy Punk Mineral eyeshadows. I liked the colors, or at least some of them, but I don't know, the formula didn't feel like anything special to me. And the other one I touched, I can't remember the name of it, but it had at least a couple purples in there, I think. But the same thing, I don't know, the formula wasn't impressive to me. Like, I felt like it was lacking pigment and the feeling of it, like it wasn't creamy, it felt more, I don't know, you know when you get like an average drugstore eyeshadow? Again, I'm not knocking the drugstore, I do like certain things, but there's good quality drugstore and there's not so good quality drugstore, just like with high end. But I'm just trying to give you the best description I can of what this eyeshadow felt like. That's the best I can give you. It felt like an average quality drugstore eyeshadow. Definitely don't need that. Another thing I touched was the Pure Out of the Blue Vanity eyeshadow palette. You know I was attracted by the blue, right? You know I had to go over and touch that blue eyeshadow. But again, that was about it, and I wasn't crazy about the formula either. Something else I touched was the Smashbox Crystalized highlighter. It was okay. I don't see what the hype is about for that. Then I went over to Stila. I played around with the After Hours eyeshadow palette. I have the Happy Hour eyeshadow palette, and I was considering getting this one too. But after touching it and spending some time with it, first of all, I think the formula is somewhat better in the one that I have, the After Hours one. This one I think is still good, but the colors just aren't really for me. I'm kind of attracted by a few in there, and then that's it. So that's a lot of money to spend on that when I'm only into a few of the colors. So I'm happy with the one I have. I don't need this one. Other products from Stila that I touched were the Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadows in Dollish and Tulip Twinkle. Spoiler alert, as you saw, I did make one purchase that day. I don't think I bought anything else that day. Just that, I bought the Tulip Twinkle one, which I thought seemed smooth, pigmented, and was a nice watermelon kind of color. Whereas Dollish, I still thought the formula was good and it was smooth and it was a nice color, but the reason I didn't get that one as well, even though I wanted it, is because I feel like it's similar to one that I have already. I think there's one that I have that's called Coral Crush, and the other one is called Enchantress, maybe? But they're both like peachy, corally colors like this one is. One's a little smoother, and one has a chunkier glitter to it. So I felt like this one was kind of too similar, so I don't really need it, at least right now. Something else I saw when I was there was the Storybook Cosmetics x Mean Girls Burn Book eyeshadow palette. Some of the colors are nice, some of the shadows are nice, like formula-wise, but I realized, like, as much as I like Mean Girls, this isn't really a palette that I need. There aren't enough me colors in it to justify that, and I didn't think the formula was anything, like, special. And I finished by touching some Too Faced stuff. I touched a few of the Tutti Frutti Fruit Cocktail blush duos, the newer shades that came out. I guess now they're not so new anymore, but 2 months ago when I actually touched them, they were new. The one I had been interested in one of my wish lists was the Berries and Bubbly one, and I have to say I was very disappointed. The color isn't what I thought it was going to be, based on what I had seen on the internet. It was more peach than like a pale champagne and pink kind of duo, but Not like a nice peach, because we all know I like peach, but I don't know, there was something about this, and I thought it wasn't terribly pigmented either. I had actually gone in to swatch that, and I'd been planning to buy it, but then when I touched it, I wasn't happy with it. Other new colors that I touched were Papaya Pop and Like My Melons. Too Faced really needs to stop. But they were just, I felt like I liked half of each of those, and otherwise they were just too dark for me. I also touched the Tutti Frutti Triple Scoop highlighting palette. I have to say, I really did like two of the shades in that palette, the lightest shade and the pinky shade. Didn't care for the color of the last one, just color preference, but the pinky shade and the third shade in the palette, they're just too dark for me. Yes, I could get this palette and use them all as eyeshadow and then use the lightest one as a highlighter, but I think that's kind of crazy, and I don't really need it. So I'm passing on that. Oh, and the best for last, the Tutti Frutti You're So Jelly highlighters. These are the reason I didn't want to leave the store. These smell so good. I really wanted to buy one just for the smell of it. They smelled like a watermelon, I would say. Like a watermelon, strong fruit scent. Really, really, really good. Also, I was under the impression that them being jelly, like I wasn't expecting, well, now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds stupid, but I wasn't expecting like a grape jelly consistency, because when I put my finger in, I was expecting it to be more of a hard gel, and my finger went right through. The poor tester didn't see it coming. I really hadn't expected that. I had expected it to be more like a more solid jelly lip balm kind of consistency, but it was not. But anyway, what's sad is that all three of them that they released are just too dark for me. And again, it's the same thing. There's no point in me getting one of these to be an eyeshadow. Also, I don't know how they would hold up on my hooded eyes anyway. But if these could work on your skin tone, I would recommend getting one, just because of the colors and the consistency and definitely the smell of them. But unfortunately they're too dark for me and they're gonna have to come off my list, but I will definitely be smelling them again in store just for the joy of it. Wow, we went through a lot in a short amount of time. Watch my shorter videos though, where I talk about less, end up being the same amount of time as this. Anyway, so what are your thoughts about anything I talked about today or anything that I didn't talk about today? But there are more videos coming, so if there's something I missed, it might be in an upcoming video. I'm trying to film a bunch of them because I'm behind. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you have a good day no matter what it is you're doing. Bye. See you next time.